Cancer. So the way that these two cards presented themselves, they literally like slipped over my hand, and I feel like some of you either may be experiencing or may be doing it yourself, some type of sleight of hand, where an exchange is happening for seeming that appears to you or is going to appear to the other person as if nothing has changed. So that's right. That's a sleight of hand. Like when you eliminate something, but it's like a magic trick. I don't, the magician's not here. I don't see this as necessarily somebody being deceptive, but the high priestess fell in reverse, and she wants to stay that way. So this could also be something that kind of got exchanged, or again, sleight of hand type thing that happened before that's now coming to light, because with Mercury retrograde, things that were previously done in the dark, especially contract-wise, legally, if you have a car issue, like let's say you got your car repaired a month ago and they said, yeah, it's all fixed, it's just it's the transmission. And then all of a sudden, your transmission goes and you bring it to a different car dealer or a car mechanic and they tell you they never replace the transmission. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Something like that you wouldn't have been able to check really, With the Three of Wands and the Two of Pentacles, I feel like you are starting to consider all the different avenues that can bring you more financial stability, as well as emotional stability. Because I feel like it's becoming very apparent to you that regardless of how much money you make in a certain work environment, in a certain career, if it's taking an extreme toll on how you feel, and it takes you like all your off time to like emotionally recalibrate or emotionally rebound, then it's probably not worth its money. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that you're going to up and quit, but that's kind of what the High Priestess is saying. And well, in the reverse with the Six of Pentacles, are you really getting as much out of a situation as you think you are? It's like maybe you took the job because you, figured it would look good on your resume, or it would launch your career faster, or you would get to be a manager instead of just an associate, or whatever the case may be. But in reality, you're realizing that the payoff is not what you originally thought it was going to be. Now, this could be something that isn't necessarily detrimental. Like I don't see you, getting paid less than you were told you were going to get paid. Like there's no like terrible outcome. But with the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Swords, I also feel like hitting that like high level of financial security, or hitting that like jackpot, or getting that bonus, or getting that raise is probably on pause until April. Because I feel like there's things that you need to sort out financially. Also, you may be all of a sudden catching wind of some type of money that's being withdrawn out of your account that you didn't even realize. Like sometimes we don't bookkeep, everything is digital now. We don't really pay attention to what comes out of our account. This could be something that you thought you canceled, but you still see it's auto debiting your account and things like that. Okay. All right, Cancer. So first off, there is a pretty big absence of majors. I know there's two here, but there's such a dominant fire sign, wands energy, which is, it's spiritual, it's initiatory, and it's business related, right? And I do feel like, before this before this woman holding a coin even presented herself, there's a massive focus here on recalibrating your relationship with your finances, or what role your finances or your physical life plays into your overall well-being. Okay, and this energy is very much about you and what you do and how you co-create with the cards that you're dealt, how you play your hand. Okay, because we do live in the third dimension, and we need money, and we need to play the game of like, earning our assets and whatever. But I feel like you need to kind of take more control over your relationship with the physical world, to bring it into a more harmonious state. Because I do feel like some of you have been really trying to like make money and financial gain your entire life, right? It's like your whole entire focus, like just kind of pushing the envelope, like work, 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 work. I have financial goals. Once I hit my financial goal, or once I get this money, everything will be better, right? And then it doesn't get better, and then you get upset. And this is about, remembering that, first of all, there is no finish line in life, period. Even if we meet a goal, we can meet our dream goal, and the next day want more, because one achievement leads to another desire, right? Because striving is part of being in the human vessel. Striving and achievement. Because when we're in soul form, we're just innately, we know our innate worth. The dominant emotion is really just love and bliss. Like, we don't have all this motivation to better ourselves, really. You know what I mean? That's a human earthbound thing. So you want to use it to your advantage. The overall energy you're being initiated into in March is woman holding a coin. I also feel, regardless of your gender or sex that you relate to, I do feel like this energy is about learning how to procure and manipulate, if you will, money in the physical world in a feminine energy. All right, so this has to do with receiving, because again, the energy you're being asked to release, and we're going to get into that in a second, is very much about assertion and like dominance, and needing to kind of counterbalance all of that with something else. Virgo had this as their overall energy too. So if you have strong Virgo in your chart or whatever, I feel like that they're going to be overlap there in some capacity. Your dominant energy from the Rider Waite is the Page of Swords. So I feel like you need to pay particular attention this month, Cancer, around the conversation that you have with yourself when it comes to money, work, and abundance in general. Okay, because I feel like, especially since Mercury is retrograde, basically the entire month, in your sister sign of Pisces, Cancer and Pisces, both, Mercury doesn't do too well there. Okay, every Cancer and Pisces Mercury that I know, even if they're fire dominant, even if they're earth dominant, they kind of, keep things to themselves, don't really speak super clearly. It's hard to, it's a lot of read between the lines type of energy. Now, with that said, you should fare well with reading the energy. So remember, this month, it's not so much about what's being said, it's about what's not being said, what's missing, right? Because you already know what you say about money, or you already know what you say about work, or how you feel about work. What's not being said? What hasn't been done? Because I feel like you need to do or say whatever, like the opposite of what you've been doing is. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't keep doing the same thing and hope for new results, right? Because I feel like that's exactly what this energy is right here. What you're being asked to release is the Eight of Pentacles with the rune Fertility and the King of Wands, which is like drive. Like, you know what I mean? That's like pushing your own agenda. And there's nothing wrong with pushing your own agenda in general, but there's this hard work is the way to prosperity type of mentality here. And that is kind of counterintuitive in terms of metaphysics. And I feel like this month you need to really learn how to yield to the divine plan a little bit more. I know you're a cardinal sign, you like to control things, and I respect that. As an earth sign, I respect that. But you need to ease up the reins and collaborate with spirit, especially if you want to shift your finances. Because I feel like some of you have been having financial struggles for quite some time, okay? Maybe since May of last year, or 2017. May of 2017. I feel like it's been going on for a while. The Eight of Pentacles with fertility as a release is also saying that this idea that the harder you work, the more opportunities that are going to be birthed is just not practical right now. Because I feel like you've been so pigeonholed in procuring wealth, that you can't see the more inspirational, more soul-centered, more expansive ideas and opportunities that want to come to you. We're going to talk about that here. It's very clear. Like, this reading is either going to like kind of completely resonate with you, I feel like, or not at all. Because the message here is very clear. It's about altering your relationship with the way that you manifest and bring in physical money or objects or whatever. The King of Wands as a release is also saying this idea that you know what's best, and about that you have to take like this extreme leadership role in order to achieve things. I also feel like, to an extent, you've taken on a little bit too much of a burden with work too. Maybe you're working multiple jobs. And of course, if you need to make ends meet that way, obviously I'm not telling you to quit your jobs, but you may consider, when we sell our time for money, we have to really make sure the payoff is right? This is what I was talking about in the beginning. So certain jobs, we can work less hours and make more. So you need to consider that. Consider the time that you invest versus the financial return. And also, what's the emotional return? How do you feel when you're done? You know what I mean? Because there's only so much, and everyone's threshold is different, but if you have to work 60 hours a week to make the amount of money that you need to, hit your goals or whatever, but it also takes such a physical and emotional toll on you that you have no life outside of work, obviously that train is gonna crash at some point. You know what I mean? So I feel like there is a need to create more flow in your financial life, and I feel like the key to that is all about connecting back to your worthiness, right? Feeling worthy. And I think the reason that you're struggling to feel worthy is because there's been so much time and energy focused on the external and not enough on the internal. So, your internal landscape is feeling a little parched. It's feeling a little neglected. So I feel like we do need to go inside and do some watering and do some, pruning and things like that. And this is a good time to do it because, the equinox on the 20th is the astrological new year, and the one that a lot of us watching these videos do recognize, right? So it is a spring cleaning type of energy. I think that you will benefit a lot from that because the Page of Swords is your overall energy, is really saying to you, like, where can you cut away some of the brush so that you can see the image more clearly, so you can see the truth more clearly. The door that's now open that was once closed, we have the Six of Wands, clarified by the Page of Wands. And on the Page of Wands, we have the rune Destiny. And this is the ideas that I'm talking about. So this is a beautiful energy to have opening to you because the Six of Wands obviously is success, recognition, notoriety, getting the attention for your skills, right? So I feel like you've kind of been like toiling away, trying to either become the boss or trying to pave your own way. But in reality, Spirit is saying the opportunity that you want that's really going to launch you and place you in a position of status, place you in a position of recognition is actually something a lot, like a little bit off the beaten path, I feel, with the Page of Wands here in Destiny. Because I just feel like you need to pick up your eyes. I feel like there's something that you're missing. Okay, I don't think it's in your immediate work environment. I think this is something that's more that maybe you would do for pleasure, or if you have two jobs, this is the job that you make less money at. This could be if you're customer facing and you interact with people at your job every day. This could be like one of your clients or one of your customers. You start talking to them and you let them know, you know what, I actually write in my free time. I fancy myself as a poet or whatever. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, like, I would love to read your work. Where can I find it? Do you have a website? You know what I'm saying? And then the things start to birth from there. So if you have a side hustle or a passion or a hobby or whatever that you do in adjacent to the things that pay the bills, I feel like it's important that you really own that this month and you really like wear that label. It's not like I'm a carpenter, but I like to write. It's like I'm a writer and I work as a carpenter. You know what I'm saying? You see how that feels different? So I feel like it's really important to own whatever persona or aspect of yourself that you want people to recognize first. Because the Six of Wands is saying that no matter what, you're going to get attention. No matter what, you're going to be seen. So you may as well put your best foot forward so that you're noticed for your skills. So you're noticed for things that are really in alignment with your talents as well. Because not that you're not talented or whatever at what you do. I think you're very proficient at the work that you do, but you're trying to be like a head honcho or a top earner or whatever in this field that really you're just good at it, but it's not aligned with your truth. Your current energy as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the Two of Wands with the rune protection. We have the Nine of Cups in your heart space. And we have the Six of Swords in your foundation. So the Six of Swords in your foundation is obviously transition, right? Needing to shift, especially the conversation we have around our life and around our goals and around our money, right? Because the Six of Swords goes from being in a tumultuous space to being in a lot calmer, more peaceful of a space. So I feel like some of you have been having like a, quote, mental war, or it could be even one that's more externalized around, again, money. And I feel like money has just been the block. Like, I want to move, can't afford it. I want a new apartment, can't afford it. I want to change jobs and do something, you know, let's say something where the money's not guaranteed, like sales or your Etsy shop or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like money. It's just money is the block. And I feel like your conversation around money is a little dull. Okay, we'll say dull. With the Nine of Cups in your heart space, you need to focus on this energy, right? Nine of Cups is wishes come true, and it's also fulfillment, right? Feeling fulfilled with your life. And I almost feel like you're two different people at work and at home, and they need to merge in order for you to feel this all the time. Okay? They need to merge. And if you're on the job hunt, I can't stress this enough. I tell my clients this. I'll tell anybody this. If you hate your job, okay, whether it be the skill set that you're using or the environment itself, when you go to look for a new job, you have to be in a optimistic mind state. Because if you seek a new job out of like, oh my God, I hate this place, I need to get out of here ASAP, and take the first job that crops up that pays $1 more an hour or whatever, you're going to be disappointed and want to move on again in 6 months. Okay? So I also feel like you need to start thinking about long-term goals as well, so that it's not about like small money, right? We need to start thinking about long money. With the Two of Wands in your headspace, further clarified by protection, I feel like you have a very modest or erring on the side of caution perspective on what is possible for you, especially when it comes to, again, career and the procuring of things. And also how far your talents can take you. I feel like you're selling yourself short in a lot of ways. This feels like a cap to me. This feels like a ceiling. Not a glass ceiling either. This is a ceiling with a skylight, but it's a ceiling. It's a physical ceiling. And I really, really, really encourage you again this month to broaden your perspective and to dream a little bit. Okay, and again, take those little hints that don't really seem like just the usual information. This Page of Swords is really encouraging you to read between the lines, as well as dissemble the information that you hear. Because like if someone says something to you, but their words, not that they resonate as a lie, but they just like, you know, there's more going on there, and you feel like it's like, you know, you have a feeling of what they actually mean or what that could lead to. I feel like it's a really good month to take that as truth. Is this the month to up and quit your job and immediately jump into another one? No, it's not. But it is a month to observe keenly your reality, your immediate surroundings, and file away all these different little tidbits of information that I feel like are going to be really valuable going all the way into May. Okay, March to May, I feel like is the time frame where you have the power to really shift your financial, I want to say windfalls. So you could all of a sudden, bring in a lot more money than you thought, or you might be getting your tax money back, and that's enough for you to like pay bills for 2 months and you could take a risk. Okay? Because Spirit's advice for you, I love when Spirit gives, quote, negative cards for advice. We have the Five of Pentacles with the rune Constraint, the Five of Cups, and the Empress. So if you are a mother of like young children, or even a mother who has an adult child, or you're a father who has a poor relationship with the mother of your children, I feel like this is saying that, if you're having like parental money issues, meaning like your co-parent isn't paying what they owe, or they're making you pay out way more than you can afford, or again, if you have an adult child and they're making poor choices and you're feeling the urge to like, you want to help them, but you know that they, you don't want to enable them either. I feel like you kind of got to give all of that breathing room. I know I'm talking about a lot of different scenarios here, but you know what your life is like. Because the Five of Pentacles talks about financial constraint, right, in some regard, and then constraint is on top of it. But obviously, this is Spirit's advice. They're not advising you to be financially strapped. I feel like what they're advising you, though, is that helping people is nice, right? Nurturing people, giving people nurturing type of support is nice, and it comes from a good place. But if the amount of emotional, spiritual, physical, financial support that you're giving people is putting you in a place where you feel bound, then you need to pull back. Because being a martyr, or being someone who, is there for everyone else, but no one's there for you, at the end of the day, it's ultimately your fault. And I know that we don't want to feel that way. But I know there's going to be someone that's going to comment and they're going to say, well, I'd be a terrible mother or friend if I didn't help this person. And it's like, yeah, help them the first time. But we're talking about chronic misuse of support. Okay, because the Five of Pentacles in constraint is also saying you need to break up with this idea that money is hard to come by, and a lack mentality. Because I feel like with the Five of Cups here, you also have probably continued to look for work or continue to look for solutions in the same place for quite some time. This could be as simple as like, instead of going on Indeed for a new job, maybe, check your social media contacts first. You know what I mean? Maybe it just is a matter of sending out a tweet like, I'm looking for work in this field in New York City, blah, blah, blah. You never know. You just don't know. But I feel like this has been a constant thing. Some of you like literally have a poor relationship with your child's other parent, and like because of the beef that y'all have, there's a money issue here. One person's either not paying child support, the other one is like wringing the other one out to dry for child support. If that's the case, being that Mercury's going retrograde, now is a good time to refile with court and ask for, a reassessment if possible, or renegotiating, right? Mercury is things, redecorate, renegotiate. You may even want to renegotiate your contract, because the Empress is ruled by Venus, okay? So she wants you to receive. She wants you to feel bountiful. So there's a lot of energy and wounds here around feeling like you're not worth making more, and it's mostly or not worth having more, and that it's really hard to do. But also, if you've been in a career field for quite some time that just isn't cracking, I feel like you need to just look at all your skills, and you may have, like on resumes, we tend to write our skills tailored to the jobs that we work in. Take away the extra descriptors that are specific for that career field, and just look at the overall skill set you have, and then maybe rewrite your resume as well. I feel like now is a good time to rewrite resumes, because it's time to break up with struggle. It's time to break up with this chronic woe is me energy, because it's and again, I think that your actual job itself is taking a toll on you emotionally. That's kind of making it harder to break away from this. But happiness needs to be prioritized because going into April, we have the Sun and we have the Seven of Wands. And on the Seven of Wands, we have the rune Luck. So if you are feeling job offers, do not take the first one. I would make them kind of compete for you. Don't be afraid that if you tell one, oh, I have another job offer that I need to consider, or I have another interview I need to go to. Don't lie. I mean, I wouldn't lie if you don't actually have any other offers. Like, don't lie, but I still also wouldn't necessarily take a job on site, like sight on scene. I also think that going into April, it'll be very, very clear to you what your values are, okay? What you value in an employer. I feel like a lot of times, too, when we look at career, it's always like the employer wants to know what's so valuable about you or why they should pick you. First of all, employers need us, people, okay? So you need to know why they are worth you. Okay, so I feel like you also may really, really benefit from flipping the script, okay, on people. And again, not in like an aggressive way, just in a natural way, like in a way of like, I know what I'm worth. I know that I have a skill set that is very desirable. I know that it's very clear how talented I am and how good I am, and that I deserve to be happy. So I know that I can choose what works best for me. Okay, also, again, if this is a children's situation or, money wrapped up in child affairs, I feel like going into April, you may have to defend why you want to amend your child support or why you whatever, but I think that things will work in your favor for the most part. Yeah, look, I got the Justice, the Ten of Wands, and the King of Swords, Six of Cups, Seven of Swords. All right, so, if that's the route for you, I'm going to be honest. I think that you're going to get a fair judge, okay? But prior to filing, especially if you're the person that's like paying out way more than you can afford, but because of how the system is, like, even if it's strapping you, they would still favor on the side of the other person. You may need to figure out how you can hide some of your money. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say on that. Okay? Because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not getting in anybody's business like that. Okay? Because I can't be held responsible. I can't be held responsible for that. But I feel like it's important going into April to stick to your guns. Okay? Whatever it is, stick to your guns. Because I feel like this defeatist attitude that you've been prone to lately is really, really draining to you. And you know that you deserve better. All right, Cancer? I love y'all. And if you're interested, I do have mid-month readings in the description box below, okay? Peace.